Come on in, come on in. Welcome, guys. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, thank you. Share this video, tag a friend, tell them we are on. It's a very important topic. Call somebody, tell them we are on. Tag a friend. Come on. So, hello, welcome to Nora's Word. Like I always start, this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. We are super grateful. As you all know, this is week 8 of the quarantine, the lockdown. With it, this says a lot. And during this week 8, before this time, a lot has gone on and a lot is still going on. Some people have fallen sick. Some have recovered. Some lost their loved ones. Some found their marriages falling apart. Some of their kids have gone astray. We have seen people committing suicide. We have seen a lot of people who have gone through into depression, stress, fear. And all of this because of what we are going through right now. But more and more and more and more, there is something that is very silent that we do not speak about every day, which is abuse and domestic violence. As you all know, the more people are stressed, the more people are depressed and feeling that there's no more hope, violence and abuses comes in as easy and quickly as it can. And so today, our topic is going to be on how to avoid being abused in this time of quarantine. How can you avoid that? And mostly the reason why we're going to be talking to women and young girls, because our organization focuses on mostly empowering women and young girls who have gone through abuse, how to kind of overcome their abuses, and then we empower them also. And so we're going to be focusing on how to talk to the women today on how to avoid being abused. The reason why we're focusing is not because the women are so bad. It's not because they're doing anything to deserve to be abused or maybe to be violated in their very homes or where they're married. But the question is they're already going through this. And so, and we know how difficult it is to be a woman when you're raising your kids and trying to kind of put your home together and you have to go through abuses. It's very difficult. So we just want to give certain tips that will kind of help us as women to avoid being abused in this season. You know, you can't say you're going to go and call 911. You will not be able to call any police or you'll not be able to call a shelter. It's possible, but it's going to take you a longer time than it was before, where you can be able to reach out in 1 or 2 minutes, you can be rescued. So just to save your own life and then save the lives of your children and then be able to save the marriage that you are in, we decided to just speak about this. I want to just apologize, first of all, for not being on my Women of Value page because we had some difficulties connecting over there. And so I had to come on my me page. And I want to just welcome you and thank you for coming. Share this video. Tag a friend. It's very important. Let's know what is happening. Let's try to learn from one another so that we can be able to save lives. Your questions are all welcome. You can post them in there and we can be able to answer them as time goes. But we're not going to keep you on here for a longer time. But remember, we are all in this together. And who says violence, who says abuse, it has to be everybody's concern. So thank you for tuning in. And so the topic was how to avoid being abused in this time of quarantine when we find ourselves in the lockdown. A lot is going on. A man who was somebody who was always angry before is going to even get more angrier. Reason being because there are lots of frustration. Some people lost their job and some people maybe lost some loved ones and they can't deal with them. Some people are just frustrated because they haven't never been home in their own homes before for more than a day. They have never. And then they find themselves, it's 8 weeks. They have to be home to deal with certain situations in their family. How can you deal with that as a woman? How can you deal with that? Number one, for me, my point number one, you have to make the man feel and know that he is in charge and he's the head of the home. It's very wise. Maybe you will say, oh, no, why would you say that? He has never been there before. He was always gone. He never took a responsibility. Okay. But now that he's home, you have to give him that place, that role as the man. Every man wants to feel that he's accepted, that he's appreciated. And so you have to give him that place as the man in the home. Let him feel that he has that authority. I'm telling you, if you do that, you're going to avoid a lot of things from happening. Let him feel that he's in charge. He's the man of the home. Decision making, you should make sure every decision that is made with his consent. Don't ever do anything without telling him. Don't do it because you were used to doing it before. Okay, I'm the one who's always making the decision. I'm the one who's always doing what I have to do. Now that your husband is home and he's home 24 hours, allow him to play the role. You can. I'm not saying you can't do what you have to do. Maybe you can make the list. Write down things that you want to see. But make sure you take it to him and say, honey, here I am. I've made this list. I've done this. What are we about to do? What can we do about this? And you guys have to decide together. Let him feel that he is the head. Number two, do everything out of love. Kind words. You know, there's nothing so much of a man who maybe is a man who's always angry, or maybe a man who's abusive, that comes home and he finds a wife who has a big smile on her face, and everything she says it out of love, even when he's being aggressive. There's no one who's crazy. Love covers all. And if you do things in love, it's felt. No matter how bad a person can be, as long as they see you giving them more love, more kind words, they are obliged to change and be a better person. So whatever you're going to be saying to your spouse in the house should be based upon kind words. Let your words come with love. Base everything upon love. Don't be an angry woman. It's true he has never been there before. It's true he was always gone and you were left to make decisions on your own. You didn't have anybody to kind of support you. But now that he's there, learn to be a different person. Say words with kindness, with laughter, with love. Let your words pierce his heart, and you will see that no matter the way how bad I am, this woman is still being nice to me. I have to learn to change as a man. Be kind in things that you say. It's going to avoid you a lot of things, because as you are kind to that man, if he decides to ever want to be maybe somebody who is going to be bad to you, he can't do that because he found somebody giving him more love. Number 3, you have to increase your level of communication. Oh, what are you saying, Nora? This guy has never even been talking to me before. He was always gone. I pass all my time calling my friends and family on the phone to be able to discuss with them. And so I'm used to it. No, you cannot get used to it. Increase your level of communication. Make sure there's less phone calls to people outside. Let him feel that he's wanted. Let me tell you, if you do not communicate with this man, you're going to make him to get more angry. Increase your level of communication with him. As long as he at home and you guys are in the house, make sure you bring out conversation. He might not want to talk because his nature is somebody who's always getting angry. He's always that violent person. So bring conversations. Talk about things that interest him a lot. If he likes football, bring about football. It's been a while. There's no football on the television. There's no basketball. There's no soccer. Nothing is going on. So bring about some football topic. They just had a draft for football. Bring about somebody who was drafted. Maybe he know that the person was drafted and he liked the story. Bring about that story. Come try to talk about that. Maybe there was a draft of the WNBA draft that they had a couple of weeks ago. Bring about that topic. Say things that interest him. You know that he's going to want to talk about. Learn to know the man you have and you. Bring out more communication. More communication. Don't be on the phone too much. Don't be calling this friend and spending almost 30 minutes, 1 hour while your spouse is sitting there and he's feeling that he's alone. He feels frustrated and it makes him more angry. Avoid being on the phone too much, talking to other people. Give some importance to your spouse. Number 4, respect him. Oh, wow. You're going to be asking, what do you mean by I should respect him if I have to do order number 1, number 2, number 3? What respect does he need more? Men and their respect is something very important. And if you ask most men who are very violent and who get angry all the time, they will tell you, my wife does not respect me. She disrespects me. She talks to me just anyhow. She misbehaves when I tell her things. She never agree with me on anything. She doesn't respect me. And that's the word they use all the time. Respect him. And if I will have to add this to it, bring your children to kind of realize that that's their father. Because that's where that is another topic for another day, but I'm going to bring it in a little bit when it comes to this respect. Allow the kids to know that that is their father. No matter how bad he is, no matter how aggressive he is, as long as you guys have decided to live with him and be able to share that family time with him, that relationship with him, you have to respect him for who he is. I know it's difficult. It's not an easy thing to do, but you have to learn to do it as long as you have decided to do it. And it's all a process. It's not going to happen in one day time. So respect him and bring your children to respect him equally, because that's what will make him happy when you find out that the wife respects him and the children do also. And then finally, for today, always learn to praise your spouse for every small gesture that he does. Let's assume he took the trash outside. Oh, wow. I'm so grateful. Thank you for taking the trash outside today. I appreciate that. Maybe he took on his shirt that he doesn't even usually do and put it in the dirty clothes in the dirty clothes basket. Oh, thank you for putting the clothes in the dirty clothes basket, in the laundry basket. I appreciate it. Be somebody who will appreciate every little gesture. Let's assume he came to the kitchen while you were cooking. He doesn't even do it usually. Oh, thank you for coming to assist in the kitchen. I appreciate it. You will have to be somebody who will appreciate every kind gesture. And maybe you are asking me, so what do I get in return? I might want to be making all of the efforts. He's not doing anything. Why is it always, why does it have to be about me all the time? The reason is because you are a weaker vessel. Like I just said earlier at the beginning of this video, is to avoid being abused. You find yourself, it's like we are in a trap right now. There's quarantine, there's lockdown. There's no, you cannot complain anywhere. Before you even call 911 and complain, things will already go wrong. So you as a woman, to avoid it, since you are already into the relationship, you are already married into it, you are already into it, avoid it. And in conclusion, if I should just give you a piece of what I feel I can be able to add to what I just said earlier, it is not easy being in an abusive marriage or maybe have an abusive relationship. Nobody wants that. And nobody wants to have somebody who abuses them all the time and they have to accept it. But one thing I know, if you allow that to happen for the past 10 years, 11 years, 15, 20 years, I believe you are there because of a purpose. And the purpose which you find yourself in that relationship is to be able to work on it. Every abuser is not as bad as we think. Most of them need help. Men who are abusive needs help. A lot of them, they will never say that they need help. Like I always said, most of them grew up maybe in a home where they were being abused. They saw their mom being abused. They saw their dad being abused. And so they grew up being abusive themselves. Or maybe they grew up in a neighborhood. That is on one of my videos. If you want to watch my video and know more about the abuse, you can go on my YouTube channel, or maybe you check out my pages. That's the reason why some of them are abusive. And so they need to be helped in how to overcome this abuse. And so I want to just urge you, if you are the spouse, if you are the girlfriend or maybe a fiance, and you decide to keep this relationship, you have to help the person you are with overcome that abuse attitude. It's possible. You can't change anyone, but you can try to go with the process and with the flow. You're going to say, but he's been abusive over the years. He goes out and drink and come back. He takes drugs and come back. My thing is, if you have been able to withstand that for those years, those number of times, that means that you can be able to work on certain things. Maybe ask him if you guys can go see a counselor. If you can go, maybe be able to see somebody who's going to help you guys to overcome his addiction. Somebody is asking me the question. I need to have that close to me. I need to see it and be able to answer that question. He said, if you have, excuse me, I will have to interrupt a little bit. He said, if you are being abused, you are in a life-threatening, try to contact 911. Yes, I agree with you, Dr. J. That's true. You can contact 911, it works. But I'm telling you, in the situation that we find ourselves in the lockdown, 911 a lot of people are occupied right now when it comes to the COVID-19 patients and people who are really sick, and then people are calling. I was doing a research on this, and I found out that before the lockdown, there were 2 calls, maybe an hour or day before the lockdown. Now it's about 5. It's between 5 and above. And so before your own phone call is taken, avoid it. This is my thing. You have to avoid it before the 911 gets there, and you're already strangled, and maybe you're already maybe being wounded, or let's not pray for the worst. Maybe you are killed. Avoid it because you already find yourself in it. So the question is, if you are still there, you have to avoid it. That's my thing, and so avoid it. So another question. Yes, I agree that it's a life-threatening situation. Like I said before, we're not teaching on how to find a life partner over here, but we're gonna go back on that because you're bringing me back to that particular thing. If you got into a relationship that was not a good foundation, because let me tell you something, before you get married, it has to be a right foundation. That's why you are asked to ask 1,500 questions to a man that you are dating for the first time to know who he is. A man who takes you out for the first time and get angry on the first date and cannot even control themselves. You have to be careful how to go into marriage with that kind of man. I'm sorry to say that. You saw all of those, but you still get married on the pretext that things are going to change, and up to now it hasn't really changed yet. So my thing is, just make sure you avoid being killed because it's life-threatening. The foundation of the relationship was already shaken. So it's not now I'm gonna be saying anything else. But because you're already into it, that's what I'm saying, you're already there. So you have to work on how to make sure you avoid being hurt, or maybe avoid being killed before something happened. And so going back to what I was saying, just to be able to avoid it, do all of these things, it's not easy at all. You're going to find it difficult because you are human being yourself, and you find yourself struggling with somebody who's always abusing you, maybe physically, emotionally, saying words to you. These are not things that are very easy to take, especially when you have kids who are growing up and the kids are seeing them happening. But my thing is, if we are in a marriage and we want to see it work, we have some work to do. We have some work to do. It's a process. It's not a one-day thing. It's not going to happen overnight. And like I was saying earlier, those men need help. They need help. And if you are a Christian woman and you are somebody who believes in the power of God, I would just urge you to continue to pray for the person while you take all of these precautions. You're going to be calling 911. Yes. You're going to be calling for help. Yes. But you have to avoid the fact that you have to get maybe killed or hurt. Okay, and they say, okay, somebody say, and some men will pretend in the first 3 months to be injured, but there will still be signs with, yes, I agree with you. Yes. Some men will, like some men will come, like I was talking to one of my daughters today on the phone. We were talking about this and this on show this evening, and she was telling me, suppose a man come in the form of an injured and behaving as though everything is okay, and all of a sudden he changed. Like I always tell people that are mentor, or maybe people that are coach, you have to go back to your memories to find out when the things really change. Or man met you 2 or 3 months ago. You guys are still dating. Do not be in a hurry. Marriage is not in a hurry thing. If you meet a man and you want to get married to him, yes, some people get married after 6 months. Some people get married after 3 months. Some people get married after 1 year. But I'm telling you, there's going to be a first sign of that man's attitude when you meet him for the first time. I'm telling you the truth. You will see it. Any man who gets angry easily, he doesn't really control himself on the first 2-3 dates. There's something there's going to be a trigger. And so my thing I tell all of the young girls that I mentor is, when this guy takes you on a date for the first time, just pretend to kind of bring us some trigger and see what his attitude will be like. Or man who quickly gets angry, maybe you send an insulting word, or man who will just get furious over little or nothing because you ask him the same question over and over, maybe 2 or 3 times. Be careful how you want to go into that relationship. Be very careful because it's going to have some problem at the end of the day. You guys are going to go through a serious issue of abuse or maybe or violence in the house. It's very important. And so you're saying he comes and he was an injured and then all of a sudden he changed. So In 3 months, you guys are not married yet. I prefer that you put a hold onto that relationship and ask and seek for counsel. I believe that. Put it on hold and seek for counsel. You don't have to rush into getting married to him after 3 months. After you've seen that he has an attitude that you already changed after 3 months. It's true, maybe you invested 3 months of the time, but it's worth waiting than to be killed after a couple of years. I prefer that. And so, like I was saying, before anybody else will ask the next question, like I was saying, most of those men need a lot of help. Most men who are abusive, they need help. And they have never ever asked for help before. And because of the ego that they have, because of that proud of being who they are, they'll not ready come in to want to ask for help. And the only person that can be able to help them is the spouse. And how can she do that? She has to do it in a very polite way, in a very respectful way. No man wants to have a wife who will throw things into his face or tell him about his weakness. And being that abuse is a weakness for him, you don't begin to talk to him anyway and saying, oh, you're too abusive, you too this and you too that, and putting it into his face. You're not going to get to help that man. You're going to just push him away more. So to be able to help that person be able to change, you have to find the when and how to talk to the person on how to get help. It's very important. You have to. And so if there's no more question, I'm not going to keep you guys long. This is going to be every Sunday. I want you to come on every Sunday at 4 o'clock. Just in case we fix our Women of Value page, we're going to be on the Women of Value page next week Sunday. If not, we're going to be right here at the same time. Thank you for coming on. And oh my goodness, I think I see another more question over here. Another more question. Okay, she said most women too have a very serious problem, but don't see it. Sometimes women need to also examine themselves. Wow, that's a very good one. I agree with you. Like I always say, people always feel that I'm very hard when it comes to women. I am. The reason why is because we have the capacity to be able to multitask and be able to take a lot of stuff in the men will do. So as the wife, as the spouse in the house, you have a very great role to play. The way you handle your home is the way your spouse or your husband is going to behave. Do not be a woman who is going to be that. Women to be meek and very sweet. That's how women to be like. No matter how much you're going through, your attitude says it all. And don't forget you are raising your kids. And your kids sees your attitude. The reason why nowadays, most young children will not want to even get married because they find their parents, like they show to their kids that marriage is not even worth it because of their attitude. And so the women have a lot to do. You have to be a woman who is very meek. Be able to be a respectful woman. Don't let your kids see everything that is happening in your marriage. Maybe you and your husband having some argument in the room and you come all out and being so dramatic and trying to shout all over the place that the kids will see that their father is talking to you in the room. Maybe he didn't even touch you. You were not even being aggressive at all. It was just a common argument. And you come out being so dramatic. You have to control yourself as a woman. Make sure you're a wife who is willing to be able to I'm not saying you should go as far as killing yourself, but subdue. Know that marriage is not, it doesn't just come on a silver platter. If anybody want to hear this or not, I'm an old school person. You have to nurture your marriage. Then nobody tell you it's just a paper. No. From the day you decide to get married to that man or to that woman, it's a whole school. It's an education that begins, it doesn't even have an end till death do you part. And you will discover new things every day. And so you have to be willing to nurture and work on that marriage. If you are not willing to do it, then don't get married. For me, it's just easy. Because marriage is not what you go into and then get out. Especially for the woman has a very great role to play. She has to raise the kids. She has to make that house to be a home. She has to be the one who, when the man comes home, he feel like he's coming home to a spouse, to somebody who is willing to ease down all of it, what he's been going through all day. So you have to be willing to be able to take, you have to have that capacity to be able to take a lot of stuff in. Not to your death, but as long as you are willing to be able to do certain things, it's going to work out. So no more question. I don't know if there's any other question. If there's no more question, like I said here, then I like I was concluding earlier on, men who are abusive needs to be helped. So if you have an abusive spouse, maybe an abusive husband, or maybe you are dating a man, you think about getting married to this man, but he has some side of anger in him. If you wish to really stay with this person, make sure they find help. You can find a counselor or family therapist, somebody who can be able to counsel you guys, or maybe help you on how to overcome his anger. And why not find maybe a man of God who also is an example in the society, who can be able to help him, to be able to pray with him and lead him to a self-deliverance. It could be something that he just inherited maybe from his family. He can have a deliverance too. So I want you to be able to take it seriously if you want to really stay and marry that person, or maybe you guys are already married and the person is being violent. You can seek for help through counseling, through family therapists. It's not always about calling now. Because if you call 911, are you going to go back to your husband? It's good to call, but make sure you take the right decision. If you want to separate for some time and then work on the marriage and then come back together. That's what we are asked to do. So I want to just encourage you to be able to be that person who is willing to help. That person needs help. They need help. My thing is they need help. So look for a family therapist. Look for a counselor. Somebody who can be able to help you to be able to go forward into that relationship. And then it's going to surely work out. Okay, so somebody is saying women should stop bringing their husbands down and appreciate every little gesture. I like that. I like that input. Yes. Like I said earlier on, every man wants to be treated like a king. There are three sides of a man: the king in the man, the little boy, and the beast in the man. Don't ever try to bring the beast out of your husband or your spouse. Always bring that king out of him. There's no man who is abusive or gets angry that comes home and see his wife has just decided to do just something new for him. Every man want to be treated like a king. And you will say, but why? Why is it me that have to do all? What about him? Honey, marriage is a two-way thing. So when you get married to your spouse, it's about you giving all of you to him and he giving all of him to you. So what we're saying, we're talking about women right now over here. So if you are married and willing to just receive from your spouse, you got it a little bit wrong. So it's about you giving and giving the best you can to make that marriage to work. And he will in return give his too. But we're talking about the women right now. What we can do to be able to save our lives from abuse and domestic violence. Do what we can. Be polite. Honor your husband. Make him to feel like he's a king. There's no man who is treated like a king that become a beast. I believe that. No man. No man. No man. Is there any more question? Okay, thank you for coming on. We are son. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I got some men on here who are listening to. Thank you for coming on. Thank you so much. And so, to be able to just allow you to go next week, we're going to continue this topic on next week, Sunday, same time at 4 o'clock. Thank you for coming on. Prepare your questions, invite friends, share this video. And so that next week, Sunday, we're going to come on with more questions. We're going to continue from where we stopped from. Still talking about how to avoid violence and abuses in our home during this time of quarantine. God bless you and stay strong. Have a blessed new week. Have a blessed new week, a blessed new month. And the end of April. Thank you for coming in. I pray that May will be the month for you, the best one. And we will all come through this together and we'll come to an end. We'll celebrate together. Stay blessed and have a pleasant week. Bye-bye.